what is a dopamine detox? So dopamine is the neurotransmitter in your brain that is responsible for the reward system and is also responsible for addiction. So a dopamine detox is quitting the excessive consumption of activities and substances and sources that provide you with dopamine. Um, a lot of these ones that we use nowadays are just cheap sources of dopamine, like porn and masturbation and drugs, including nicotine, weed, alcohol, obviously. So the detox of that would be quitting these things for a period of time and letting your dopamine get back to baseline levels. So why would you even do this in the first place? It sounds miserable. Like why would you want to quit drugs? Um, so in my experience throughout my college years, I had a heavy addiction to like any source of dopamine, and this included weed, like video games, nicotine, and through the form of vaping, masturbation, porn, um, everything. Even as far as like music, fake sugars, caffeine. You know, like the fake sugars and protein bars and caffeine through the form of energy drinks and coffee. Um, I always had music playing in my ears no matter where I went. I could go into the store, the library for 10 minutes. I would have to bring my headphones, or otherwise I would just feel off because I wasn't getting that dopamine, that little spurt of feel good. Um, so all this had me feeling very numb and anxious, depressed, and unfulfilled in my life, um, to the point where I didn't want to do anything productive because why would you do something productive if you can just smoke weed and feel good? So, but we all know that smoking weed isn't the secret to life's happiness. Like it's working towards a goal that you value. And it's not achieving that goal, it's working towards it. So, will there be withdrawal symptoms in this process? Yes, of course. The more stimulating the activity you're getting your dopamine from, like porn and hard drugs, going to be at the top of the list. Um, those ones are going to be hard to quit. Uh, and the more you try to quit at one time, the harder the process is going to be, also. But this is all good. It means that your brain is getting used to the lack of dopamine from the outside poor quality sources. And essentially, what you're doing is making you bored. You're making yourself bored. You know, you want that boredom to set in that motivates you. And once you're bored and you realize, okay, so I can't smoke weed, I can't vape, can't drink, can't go on social media for 10 hours and waste the whole day doing that, what am I going to do? Well, this is where it would be helpful to have some goals, you know, fitness goals, business goals, social goals, even just like hanging out with your friends and having a good conversation. That's a goal. Um, so all these poor sources of dopamine that we're so addicted to, like the internet and video games and porn, um, they all reward you with dopamine for doing nothing. You've done nothing productive, nothing to advance yourself towards any goal that will fulfill you in your life, and you still got that shot of dopamine that you were looking for. Like it's all reward with no risk, you know. So how long will these withdrawal symptoms last, and how long should your detox last? Well, the way I'm doing it optimally, they should be lifelong changes. I'm quitting vaping, I'm quitting caffeine, Wellbutrin, fake sugars. Did I already say caffeine? I'm quitting caffeine. And I'm lessening the amount of time that I'm listening to music. So, some people say that you should do this for 90 days, but I don't really see the point of only doing it for 90 days if you really want to get like your brain working normal again. Um, I think you should try to make lifelong changes. You know, no one needs to be addicted to caffeine. Our bodies have enough energy as the way they are. they're made that way. No one needs to be on nicotine, you know? Like, nicotine just gives you more dopamine and makes you addicted. There's nothing positive about it. Unless you're trying to get off cigarettes, which is a worse form of addiction. But then it should just be a temporary step down. You shouldn't be addicted to nicotine for life, you know? Um, so what should you expect in terms of your results from your dopamine detox? Well, I actually haven't finished mine. I'm only about 3 days in, honestly. But the reported results from others are that you'll have much more motivation to go and pursue and do productive things because you're essentially making yourself bored on purpose. So you free up your dopamine to urge you to go make progress towards your goals. And as someone who was on Wellbutrin, I can attest that the drug for me, at least, was like made me feel wound up and was like way too much dopamine. It made me feel like I was wired and like was driven by a motor and I couldn't stop moving and I couldn't stop trying to be productive. Um, but I don't like the drug. It was made me way too wound up and hard to relax to when I wanted to. Um, these, uh, however, like freeing up your natural dopamine should be the right amount for your brain to like get you motivated to do something productive. So that's the end of this video. I urge you to watch Universal Man. He made a really good video about dopamine detoxing, and I mean it could just be just what you need if you're feeling like numb and depressed and anxious and unfulfilled and everything. It could just be what you need to get you that kick in the butt to, you know, help you pursue some valuable goals.